Hey there guys, this is Sam
And Justin.
doing a review of The Dark Knight Rises, and we just saw it yesterday night at a midnight show. We went to the trilogy showing, showed all three of the Dark Knight movies, and it was one of the best movie experiences I've ever had in my life. It was me, him, and a kid named Brian. You've never seen him.
Probably never will.
Nope, we don't expect to put him on here. He might post stuff on Facebook though. But anywho, let's get into the review.
Yep.
Alright, so I'm going to have Justin here explain the plot, because he's a lot better at explaining things like that than I am. But don't worry, there's not going to be any spoilers just yet. We'll let you know when there'll be anything if you haven't seen the movie yet, which we suggest doing. So, Justin, you started out.
Alright. Well, the movie starts out like 8 years after The Dark Knight. And since, if you remember, at the end of Dark Knight, Batman gets blamed for the death of Harvey Dent and everything that Harvey Dent did. That was when we became Two-Face. So, like, now Harvey Dent's known as a hero. Everything's peaceful, and Batman has retired. So, everything's pretty good, well, except for Bruce Wayne, who just like stays in his mansion all day.
He's just like a recluse, and he just... Nobody comes in, except Alfred.
And so everything seems to be good until Bane shows up. And that's what happens to Bane. That calls Batman out of retirement to stop him. And without going through the plot, Bane ends up just hurting Batman and then taking over Gotham. Really seriously taking over Gotham.
Yeah.
And that's about all I'll tell you about the plot.
Yeah, we're not going to... because if we explain any more, you're going to be like, hey, I was going to see the movie. We don't want to ruin anything.
Yeah. That's all we can really explain without ruining it.
I mean, if you haven't seen the movie, please don't watch the rest of this video. Watch the movie first, and then watch the rest of this video. Because I don't want to ruin anything for anybody. I love this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so
since the plot's all done.
Since the plot, we're gonna...
So next, talk about, like, the performances?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about performances. What's the name of the actor that played Bane?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. He was fantastic.
He was awesome.
I love... Everyone in this movie was fantastic.
Everyone was great.
Another person who's really notable, I think Anne Hathaway did a fantastic job playing Catwoman.
Yeah. She was great. All the usual people like Christian Bale, Mike Caine, they're all great.
You already know they're good. But
shoot, what's his name as John Blake, the cop?
I don't know his name.
I forgot it. He's
good. he is good.
He's good. The movie he does a lot in the movie.
Yeah,
what you'd expect from like the trailer or stuff like that. He has a bigger role than you'd think.
The movie itself, we were just talking about this, how Batman Begins was kind of a comic book movie itself.
With some like realistic elements.
Exactly. And then Dark Knight was more of a...
It was more of like a full like crime genre.
Yeah.
It wasn't really like comic booky stuff in it.
But this was like a combination of the two. And it was just the beautiful offspring baby that came out of the Dark Knight and Batman Begins.
Sorry. Oh. Well, I like how it ties a lot into Batman Begins, because I always felt that like Dark Knight didn't tie a lot into Batman Begins and felt pretty different than Batman Begins.
Yeah.
I always felt they didn't feel like too like similar, but this one kind of just like ties them a whole lot with both films, so it makes
it almost ties in the holes that didn't put Batman Begins and The Dark Knight together. This connects them.
Yeah. So it makes them really feel like they go together. Perfect.
Yeah.
Especially after watching this. It ties a lot in with Batman Begins. So if you haven't seen Batman Begins in a while, I'm planning
Oh,
on...
definitely a
Yeah.
great idea before you see the movie. Watch The Batman Begins and The Dark Knight
Yeah.
right before you see it. Just to get the full feeling of the entire trilogy. It takes a while because they're long movies,
Yeah.
but it's 100% worth it.
And all the plot points tie back to Batman Begins. Most of the plot points tie back to Batman Begins.
Yes.
A few tie back to Dark Knight, but not as much as Batman Begins.
And there are some little appearances even. There was...
Some appearances that were awesome.
They were quite awesome. Should I say it right now?
No.
No?
No.
I'll say that later.
Yeah.
But
they're awesome.
what else should we talk about?
This movie was amazing in IMAX.
Oh man, the other movies, I mean, The Dark Knight, not a whole ton of it was filmed in IMAX, only a few scenes, but this...
Batman Begins had nothing, but it was still
it
cool.
felt, like, I was told that like 70-something% of this was shot in IMAX. It felt like more to me. It felt like pretty much all the movie was in IMAX, but it was just beautiful.
It was awesome.
And
the action sequences are
incredible.
The whole ending of the movie, you are like on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And you think, oh, they're gonna like kind of do it. They did like kind of do it Back to the Future, like you're like, oh, everything's gonna work, and oh, nope, this problem comes along. And like, okay, they fixed that, and nope, there's another thing, and it keeps on going in the good way, not like in 2012 where
No,
not like that.
It's not like it's not just like cheap little things that you expect to happen. These are these are twists.
It's like insane.
It really keeps you on your toes the whole movie. Like in this movie, the person who was also with us, he didn't entirely want to be there for some reason, but he was saying he was probably gonna doze off during the last one, and I'm telling him, no, you're not, and I was right. He couldn't because it was just so. It keeps you engaged in the movie. It's the longest of the three, 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a very long movie,
and you're interested
but
every
not at a single point in this movie do you go, this is dragging on.
Yeah,
no, never does that happen. It was fantastic.
Well, even though I do say this movie is really, I do say it's like, sounds weird, but it is pretty much perfect. I did have a little problem a little bit at the beginning, that like I felt some of it was a little rushed at the beginning, like some scenes, like the scene that's in the trailer, in the teaser trailer, where he talks to Gordon in the hospital bed. That scene was like really quick and like really like just I just felt like it was just like went by too fast.
I disagree. I mean, it did go by pretty fast, but I feel that it went by fast because he was rushed. Yeah, I mean,
like the scene had Batman or at least Bruce Wayne in a room, like in like another hospital room. He puts on like a ski mask, jumps down the window to go to his room, and all of a sudden he's in there and they're in the middle of their conversation. And after they're done, it just quickly cuts away and just felt like it was really quick. I don't know.
But it kind of reminds me of going back to Batman Begins, when Bruce Wayne as Batman, it was the first time he ever talked to him, and he was in a ski mask. It was kind of like a throwback to that in a way. And I felt that that was also a sort of a rushed thing the first time he sort of like disappears from him. I just thought it was really good. I thought it was well done.
And like some like the motivations like were a little confusing at the beginning. I kind of like, why is Kevin doing this? Oh, she's doing this with that, but he's doing that with. It just felt a little bit.
It felt a little confusing, but I also think that all the confusion was resolved.
Yeah.
Like you might be confused during it, but they explain everything very well.
And then the whole second and last half of the movie is so great that you kind of just
you completely forget any problems. I never had any problems, but if you did have any problems with the beginning, like him, then you completely forget them after all the. I still can't get over how awesome it was.
The one scene is really similar. The scene, it was also another trailer, so I'm not giving away scenes that you haven't seen before. The scene where he blows up the football field. The way that scene is shot is just like the scenes in Dark Knight, where it keeps cutting back and forth to something, and you're like on the edge of your seat. Like the scene where in Dark Knight when like the commissioner and the judge dies, and slowly like Joker's gonna be at the. It keeps building. That's what that scene was, because like, not just the not just the football field explodes, other things happen, and you're just like, what?
Yeah.
That was one of the most like intense like scenes in the whole movie.
I truly love how they gave stuff away in the trailers, but then they surprise you even more by throwing in other crap too.
You feel like you're like, okay, I've seen too much in the
I've
trailers.
seen too much in the trailers,
but
but then they're like, no, you have
They
not.
You barely like scratched the surface.
Exactly.
What they could have shown. The first fight scene between Bane and Batman is probably my favorite scene in the whole movie.
It was really,
It's just this-
really interesting.
It's silent. There's no music. It's silent, just like brawl in between them, and it's so insane. And how that scene ends is another insane thing. And just
I'm not gonna say it yet.
but that's probably my favorite scene in the movie. That was the craziest. And then their fight at the end is also pretty good.
Yes.
Not as good, but like that was still a great fight. Like the part where Bane is like just like boxing Batman against like one of the pillars in the building.
Yeah, he punches this pillar,
and
a
then he just,
concrete pillar,
just, like,
and he's boom, boom, boom.
And he cracks
It's
all over it.
cracked in ridiculous.
You're just like, it's insane.
But
Just
yeah, should we start talking about spoilers?
Sure, we'll talk about some spoilers
All right.
now.
So now there are going to be some spoilers.
Yes.
All right, let's start out with kind of go back to the beginning again,
Yeah.
and then keep going, but telling spoilers.
Mhm.
The first opening scene, I have always felt like that the opening scenes in these movies were fantastic,
Oh yeah,
and especially in The Dark Knight, obviously
Yeah.
that was.
It's probably the best
Yeah.
scene out of all three.
But this one was still very good.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
It was very cool. It takes place in an airplane, and you get these three people.
It's like CIA
that
guys have like these
Yeah.
three people
with sacks over
who
their
appear
heads.
to be like Bane's minions
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
and they're like, these people know where Bane is, so they're like interrogating them by putting them to the side of the airplane while the hatch is open and like threatening to drop them.
Yeah, and then just
But-
firing a gun and making it seem like
Yeah.
they killed one of them.
Exactly. And
it's revealed that.
and then it's revealed that one of the guys, they take the thing off, and it is Bane.
Bane.
Bane. And he is awesome. It's that simple.
It's he actually like when it comes to towards the end, he kind of doesn't have as much to do as some of the like main people by the end of the movie, and this is a spoiler. His death, I always felt was a little anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of happens really quickly.
And that's another thing I disagree with. I mean, it did go quickly, but I definitely don't think that it was a perfect death. I think they could have pulled it off
Yeah.
to be a
It's
much
a little more like a little better.
Yes, but I still think it was a well done death.
Like, well, since it's from spoilers, and I guess I could say it. Catwoman on the Batpod, she shoots him. He just goes flying, and then that's it. And you never see him again the rest of the movie.
Nope.
So it just felt a little like, well, okay.
But I felt that the suspense leading up to him,
Oh, yeah.
he was about to
Kill
Batman.
Didn't
And
he had
you-
like a shotgun?
Exactly.
And then all of
He
a
had
sudden
a
you
sh-
hear like a
and then
shot,
all of
and
a
you
sudden,
think-
boom.
and you're just like,
I
what is
felt that suspense leading up to that made up for the quick
it?
portion of his death.
A little bit, like, because that's what the Xbox, because there's all these
that
rumors
scene.
about. What built it up, though, is the fact that, because there's all the rumors that Batman's gonna die in this
Yeah.
movie. So, like, right there, there's like gunshot, and there's like, ah, dude, they
You're
did it. And
thinking,
then,
you're thinking to yourself,
like, this
they're
could-
gonna kill him,
Yeah.
and that's when that suspense
Yeah.
leading up to that death there, it really, in my opinion, made up for it.
I mean, I really don't, like, it's not a big thing for me, but I felt it could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, I feel it could have been a little better too, but I think it was still good.
Yeah. And since we're in spoilers now, we can also talk about the cameos.
Yes, the cameos. My personal favorite. I can't remember his name. He played Scarecrow.
Oh, yeah, Scarecrow.
He showed up
He's
as
he's like a judge.
after he played a judge, but not a real judge. It was
like-
a judge after
it's
the
after,
Bane took over Gotham.
Yeah.
It's kind of like anarchy in this
Yeah.
place, and he was this judge.
He's just the judge. They were judging all like the rich people.
Exactly, all
Yeah.
the rich people, and then he was an entertaining.
Yeah, that's my
cameo.
reason. Yeah. So no exile, huh? And I guess it's death.
Yeah, by
By
exile. And
that was funny.
um,
And then
What other
Liam Neeson
cameos?
as
Yeah,
Al
Liam
Ghul.
Neeson. He showed up in a dream.
Yeah, but it was so awesome.
Which Liam Neeson.
He's Liam Neeson.
He's Liam Neeson. He is the reason why Batman Begins is just so incredible. I love. He wasn't in it for long enough, obviously, in my opinion, because I love Liam Neeson. Yeah. But
it was cool.
He was in this for a minute or two in a dream.
And
that was good.
The twist that Talia al Ghul is a major villain, that was good and that was well handled. How you're led to believe that it's Bane that got out of the prison.
You are led to believe that Bane was the one that got out of the prison.
And he was Ra's al Ghul's son.
Exactly.
But
it was actually Ra's al Ghul's daughter.
Yeah, and that was really well done. I mean, it wasn't as surprising for me because I've heard all the rumors. People were always asking, like, she could be him, and then she kept denying it. And then, so it finally ends up that it is she. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was a great twist. And back to my favorite scene, Bane breaks Batman's back.
Yep. Which I think happens in the comics. I don't know. I'm not an expert on the comics.
That's the major comic.
Except doesn't he turn into a paraplegic after that in the comics?
Actually, yeah, I think for a little while. I haven't actually read that part, but
he breaks his back and he's put into this prison.
He spends the whole second half of the movie. Like, there's no Batman in the second half.
Yeah. And
I'm fine with it. You know, these are Batman movies. I'm fine with it because it just shows how much Bane takes over Gotham. And
absolutely.
Like, I don't know, as all the things, like, even though I wasn't know if I should expect it, I wasn't too surprised when, like, Liam Neeson appeared, or Scarecrow, or the Talia al Ghul thing. But for some reason, I completely ruled out of my mind that he was going to break his back. I don't know, I completely ruled it out. I'm like, it's probably not going to happen. There's no way.
But then
he picks him up.
He picks him up, and the second he picked him up, I'm like, he's going to do it.
And then
and boom, right on his knee.
And then that's after he punches him and rips off the broken mask.
Yeah.
Walks away, and then it fades out.
He punches into the face, breaking the mask.
And then he walks away, and it fades out, and the whole audience was just silent.
It was 100. There was not a soul saying a word. Everyone's jaw was dropped.
It was like, serious?
It was crazy.
Yeah. And before that, before he breaks his back, he says something like, oh, and then I will break you, which I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that's the line he uses when he actually breaks his back. So I'm like, oh, that's a kind of funny reference. I'm like, no, that's because he actually's gonna do it. Because I'm pretty sure it's in the comics when he actually breaks his back. He says, "I will break you." So like when he says that, I'm like, ah, cool. And
isn't he known as the man who broke Batman?
Yeah. And like I love you think this. Here, do we still on spoilers now?
Yeah, we're still on spoilers. For the rest of this, we're on spoilers.
Rest of the review spoilers?
Yes.
Until the actual 10 thing? Okay. Yes. Anyway, I love how you think the stakes were high in Dark Knight. What Joker did and everything. Like, they can't beat that.
Yeah, you think
no.
they can't make the stakes higher.
And that's what I was worried about. I'm like, they can't do anything that will really raise the stakes from that. He takes over Gotham for a whole 3 months. Like it
is pure anarchy.
He destroys the bridges so nobody can get in or out.
People are hunting policemen like dogs.
Yeah. And the scene where like, I forgot exactly who they were, but these people were like, I forgot they were trying to fight back. So then Bane, after he kills them, he hangs them to an edge of a helicopter and flies them out. So you're watching on the news, like Batman's watching the news, and he sees these like dead bodies just hanging off the plane. That was insane. Like, it's pure, it is, it's pure anarchy, it's, like...
And it was craziness.
It was intense.
But, all in all, anything else you want to say?
I like the way they handled Batman's death.
Yes.
Death, as you want to say. Because, actually, I wasn't going to do this.
That's like the biggest spoiler you can say.
I was saying, I had a feeling they were going to do something kind of like this, but not exactly. In the comic series, The Dark Knight Returns, which some of this is kind of based off of, because in the comic, Batman comes out of retirement, like, fight bad guys. At the end, after this giant fight with Superman, he dies.
He fought Superman?
It's awesome. It's a great comic. But, and he dies, and then it ends up that he didn't die, it's all faked, and he's like, and then he starts, like, teaching these, like, group of other people to kind of, like, fight as, like, kind of Batman kind of like that. And I had a feeling they were going to do something like that, where he fakes it, and everybody thinks he's dead, and he kind of pops up, and they did do that. Not exactly the way it happened in the comic, but they did that.
Oh, another thing, there was one other sort of cameo. He was a main character throughout the movie, and toward the end, he was like sending into a hotel or something.
No, it was the cop, right?
Yeah, he was a cop,
and he was like going to like the orphanage,
which
they turned Wayne Mansion into, right?
Okay, yeah.
They turned it out, and he's like looking. I forgot why he was there.
But he had to put his name in.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't have your name here. And he's like, it might be under my full name. And he says, my full name is Robin.
His first name is Robin.
And
that was interesting.
And that was interesting. I actually would have preferred it. I mentioned this last night. If they said like at some point in the movie that his name was
like Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson. Yeah.
That would have been good.
That would have been good, but again, people wouldn't have People wouldn't have understood it if they didn't know about the comics.
People would have been like, oh yeah.
Yeah, there would have been people in there. I think a lot of the people at the Midnight Show would have understood that reference, but I mean, this isn't a movie just for people who love the comic books. Again,
I love that end where like it's that kind of like somber kind of music, kind of like the same music from the end scene of Dark Knight, and so you see, because the whole thing was what Alfred told Batman at the beginning, or Bruce at the beginning, was that when he was gone during Batman Begins, every year he'd go on a vacation to like France or whatever, and set a restaurant, hope to see him there.
And hope to see him, and that was really good foreshadowing. I was actually expecting at the end of the movie.
But when we sat down,
I saw it coming. I was thinking that something's going to happen to Batman. He's going to disappear. He's going to die or something. But then at the end, he's going to be going there. I felt like they were going to do something with that in those lines. I didn't know what they were going to do, but I felt like
I love the music. Like, you saw kind of sad music, and he sits down, and he looks up, and the Batman thing kicks in. And
yeah, right when I saw him going into this Italian restaurant or whatever it was, right when I saw him go in there, I'm like, I know Batman's going to be right across. One thing I did like about that scene, it wasn't just Batman with a random person. He was there with Selina Kyle.
Catwoman.
Well, she wasn't Catwoman at the time. She was Selina Kyle at the time.
And that was good. But I love how the music just kicks in the Batman theme. Yes, just kicks in when that happens.
Right when you see it, you just go, yeah.
And then the cop, John Blake, or now Robin, he finds the Batcave.
Yeah, he finds the Batcave. He like swings in.
Because it shows how the Batman legend is going to live on.
Exactly.
Even though Bruce Wayne is not doing it anymore, it will still live on. Like when Lisa said of Batman Begins. Like if you make yourself more than just a man, like become a legend.
Exactly. Once you become a legend, it doesn't have to be you yourself behind that mask.
Legend lives on. And then we got him coming up. Perfect, and it was just sweet. So it's a lot to talk about.
That was a lot to talk about, but now one thing I have to say before I say my out of 10 review of this movie. Are we gonna do that now? Nothing else you want to say?
Actually, I had one thing I felt.
He does have one thing to say.
It's kind of I have a little bit of a problem. It's another one. I was just thinking it's kind of weird how John Blake knew who Batman was.
You know, it was a little weird. Because he mentions at one point,
since he's an orphan,
I already knew it was you.
Yeah, he goes into
talking. But by that logic, it would mean that any orphan would know that he is Batman.
And it kind of happens out of nowhere because he just like goes into see Bruce Wayne and goes like, oh yeah, I need Batman to come back. You know, like he just tells him. And like the way he explains it is that he was an orphan, his parents were killed, so he kind of has that feeling of like kind of revenge. Of that like fake smile he was going to create, and he saw Bruce Wayne come into the orphanage one day, and he could tell that Bruce had that fake smile. Yeah, so he kind of knew it was Batman. It was a little
far-fetched, but they pulled it off.
They pulled it off, especially by the end, where he was like talking, we helped him out a lot throughout the movie. That was just awesome. I like how even though there's some crazy stuff at the end, like Batman sort of kind of dying-ish, like it's a hopeful ending.
Exactly.
It's great ending to it.
He may be dying, but it felt like a success.
Yeah. Like all the little hints at it. Like
another foreshadowing thing was that the Bat didn't have. Yeah, it didn't have autopilot. I'm thinking they're gonna do something with that. He's gonna be inside. You know, I knew right when he said that. I'm like, there's gonna be some crap where he's gonna need that autopilot.
I was thinking when they brought it up again. That's when I started thinking about it. Because they brought it up again, like before he went out.
It'll be like Airplane driving the Bat.
So yeah. So then at the end when Morgan Freeman goes to have him see, like, he's like, oh, what could I have done to fix things? He goes, oh, I was fixed. So you're like, So, Bane wasn't as like great of a villain as Joker. But I still think Bane is a really great villain.
I feel that Bane was fantastic.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite as good as Heath Ledger's performance of the Joker.
Yeah. But he was still really good. Hopefully he'll go down in history as a great villain.
Yes.
Because I thought he's a great villain.
His performance was fantastic.
Every time he was on the screen, you're kind of just like, you're nervous. So
yeah.
Same thing with Joker. You're just like, if I was near him, I would not want to be around him. Not as much as the Joker, but like you're still kind of just like.
That's the thing about the Joker that I love. There could be a huge, threatening guy who could punch concrete and not be like, ow. And yet the Joker is still so insane.
You can still be
he
like,
scares you more.
You'll be sitting there, you can have a conversation with him and you'll still be afraid.
Yeah.
Joker, you're like, just talking about like, oh, what's your favorite movie?
But now we're talking about The Dark Knight.
But yeah, and Bane, Bane, you still want to get him mad.
Yeah, you would not want to piss him off, but
because he's insane.
Yeah.
Good adaptation of him, even though like the backstory was changed.
Yeah.
The good adaptation of Bane
to make it more realistic.
That was the one thing that was a little unrealistic was that like brace that Batman put on his leg to like heal his leg.
Oh yeah, now I remember.
Like,
yeah, because all the cartilage. That's another thing that that's one of the things that I thought was a flaw. All the cartilage in his knees were gone. Yet somehow, when he doesn't have that brace and he's in the prison, he's able to.
It's back.
Does it grow back? That doesn't.
And
happen.
he heals a little too quickly from the back or anything, but.
But
the movie is so great. I just let it. I just ignore
you
that.
Just
stuff.
let it slide.
You're just like, dude, it's okay.
It was such an incredible movie. You can let that sort of thing slide.
Just like, I was thinking about that movie all day yesterday.
Yeah, it was just a truly incredible movie.
So
now, before we get into the out of 10,
right.
I just want to say, and this is the same for him. He just told me this, but it's hard to say it because I love The Dark Knight so very much. This is actually my favorite out of the three.
Yes. This is
Christopher Nolan.
Mine too.
Dark Knight.
It took me a while. I'd really think about it. Like I was thinking about it.
I figured it out at least a few hours. Like I was debating in my head which I liked more a few hours after.
The car ride home, I was thinking about it. No, I was thinking about it. And then the next morning, I started thinking about it. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, and this is my favorite.
I think it's it just does it better. One of the things I like coming from a comic book fan is it is a little more comic booky.
Yeah.
Where I felt that Dark Knight, it was great. It wasn't a little too it's like I don't know. I just felt a little weird. Probably because I'm so used to like a Batman being kind of like not ridiculous. So this one kind of balances out, which is why I like it better. The great villain was compelling.
So out of 10.
This may surprise you.
This may surprise you. Take a guess.
You go?
Yeah.
Me? Or you?
Say it.
Me? Oh,
yeah.
10 out of 10.
No. And you can guess mine. It's 4 out of 10. No, it's 10, you idiots. But the thing about it is like the other movies I love, but this one just it just topped them somehow.
It just, does it better.
Yeah, that's all I can say.
It's great film.
10 out of 10. A
great
perfect.
Beats Avengers as the best movie of the summer.
Yes. Yes. Avengers was incredible,
but
this was more.
It did everything. It was a hard act, tough act to follow, but they pulled it off.
They definitely did.
Even through my little bit of problems,
I only had one problem, and that was like with such a minor thing that it can be ignored.
So
yeah, that's the review of The Dark Knight Rises, and we'll post up some reviews of the rest of the Dark Knight trilogy soon.
Sometime soon, yeah.
All right. See you guys later.